Oh, and we're live, yes, on the air, doing the things over the internet.
Hello and welcome to the Expletives Included podcast,
Generic podcast.
generic podcast, which is a lot less nutritional content than brand name podcasts.
Yes, that is the
Yes,
intro I made up months ago.
that's the intro that I always remember, without a hitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
today we're just rambling men. Men
Um,
who ramble in a rambling fashion.
but we don't stare at goats because that's probably copyrighted.
Probably. I mean, they did make a film out of it.
Yeah, they did. And it's a book title, so
I actually read the book.
you get copyright. Did
Yeah,
they
but no
not?
one cares about book copyright.
It's like, he's plagiarizing me. Yeah, but you wrote a book.
It's like, what do you expect? You wrote a book. Come on.
Oh, no one reads books apart from the people who steal from books.
Are you one of those book readers?
No, what is it? It's like, looks like we got a reader.
Dirty, dirty reader.
He doesn't consume his books in the civilized audio format. The savage.
No, they probably don't allow audiobooks either.
Yes, the original context from which we are stealing, which isn't a book, so careful. Yes, he's looked down upon because he must be one of them educated folks or something.
Because he's a reader. Because he doesn't just wait to watch them on the tube.
Yes. So,
So how have you been this week, Daniel?
well, this weekend I've felt like I did one of those things where you know how I kind of do nothing, I get depressed because I've done nothing, and then I feel like I need to do all of the things to make up for the fact that I did none of the things. So after work today, I went shopping and then I made soup, and then I made mince pies. And I say I made mince pies; they're in the oven. I'm still making mince pies. And then after this is done, I'm going to need to kind of do washing, and I'm going to need to do all of the things. And after rushing around trying to do all of the things and eating in between, I feel like I'm feeling better, which probably means that I'm feeling better.
Who knows?
So yes, I've had an awful time, but I've been doing things which has made it better, because doing things always makes me feel better.
Yeah, I saw you were just playing Civ 5 all weekend.
That's my yeah. That when I say I've been doing nothing, it's implied that that means Civ 5.
Well,
I've
the
been trying.
audience doesn't know that.
Say again.
The audience doesn't know that.
Well, if I say I've done nothing of worth,
Civ 5 is of
then
worth.
Hmm?
Civ 5 is of worth.
not the amount I played of it, and not when I kept kind of quitting and starting again. Because I'm used to playing like the smaller sized maps, because that's kind of what my old laptop could manage. So I've tried to do large maps, like the largest map, which I think is like 12 civilizations. And the playstyle you need to survive and win in that kind of mesh, that kind of pot, that kind of whatever, that kind of scenario, the tactics are very different. So I usually just kind of build 3 or 4 cities. That'll do me. Kind of build up culture, which builds up everything else. Do all the things. I can go to war with someone if I want. But in like a very large map, you need early rapid expansion, and you need to be able to kind of conquer other cities, other countries, because otherwise, because there's so much space, the AI will just expand, and then with all of their cities, they will have all of this production to kind of get large armies. They will overrun you, or they will just out-science you, or they will out-money you. and you need to, if you need like lots of cities, you need like a different play style, which I'm not used to. So I've kind of kept kind of thinking it's like, and I'm also picky. I'm very picky with my settlers. So I'll be like, right, I can go there, or I could go to the space right next to it, which has a mountain next to it, so I can build an observatory when I get to like the modern era. Or I could build here, which is next to a river. Basically, I want a desert tile so I can get a solar plant and Petra. I want a mountain so that I can get an observatory. I want a river so that I can get a watermill, and also rivers are good. I want to be by the sea so I can get the Colossus and the Great Lighthouse. I need to not be kind of surrounded in plains. I need like hills, and I need luxury resources. Can't build a city if there's no luxury resources by there, because the unhappiness will be through the roof. So rather than just like thinking, it's like, okay, this is a decent bit of land. I can build like a circus. I can build a Colosseum. Happiness will be fine. I can build a market. Money will be fine. I think rather than just doing that, I think, right, okay, so I've got a settler, and in about 50 turns, I'll have found the perfect place to form a new city, which isn't how you just is suicide in a large map scenario. So I've kind of not been doing that well. So yeah.
What style map are you playing on?
At the moment, continents.
Have you tried playing Archipelago?
I do much prefer Archipelago, but because it does kind of give you a lot of, it gives you the wiggle room. It kind of allows you to kind of expand and feel safe. No one's really going to invade you and for a long while.
You're only safe until the industrial era, really. Unless you're playing England.
So I did try that, but again, I just didn't expand fast enough, and I think basically Washington was just steamrolling me. And like Germany had like 20 cities as opposed to my 3. And again, it was just expansion. I just didn't do it because that's kind of what I'm used to with much smaller maps, with smaller kind of surface area of the world. So, but I'm doing like another road now with Nebuchadnezzar, who is my favorite guy, just because you get writing, you get a great scientist, you make an academy, and then boom, usually your science has more than doubled, and you just outstrip everyone on tech so that you can get all of the wonders first, and then, yeah, which is what I've been doing, which has worked so quite well so far. So I just need to kind of get the cities in. I need to get up a military and take over whoever's next to me.
It's like you have cities. They're my cities now.
And then there's like all of the well, do I raise it to the ground? Because these people, even though I'm like saying that, you know, I need to expand rapidly, these people are building cities far too close together. Do I raise it to the ground, or do I occupy it? I never create puppets.
Or create a puppet state.
Never create puppets. I don't know.
If the rest of the world's really pissed off at you and you create a puppet state, it'll be less bad for you.
How so?
You just get less negative, less disapproval.
Okay. Oh yeah. One of the games, I like had people denouncing me as being like war-minded and being overly aggressive, when I didn't start one war. I'd been in like 3 or 4, but I didn't start any of them. I was being purely defensive, and then people were like, "You're a fucking warmonger. Yeah, what are you doing?
Finish them.
I shouldn't trust you."
Did you finish those wars?
Probably. That's what it'll be. Anyway, give me 2 moments because I'm going to check the mince pies that I've been panic baking.
Panic baking.
Panic baking. It's what I do when I feel like my life is going out of control. I bake.
So you're basically that Rugrats meme.
Yes.
Stu, why are you making pudding at 2 in the morning? My life is out of control.
Yeah. I've been. You got me talking about sieve, so these are quite overdone.
My plan to foil his baking has paid off. For I do not like mince pies. Yeah, and also your pastry is a bit thick, so you wanted to put them in a bit longer than normal.
Yeah. If I do like another batch, I'll have to keep that in mind because I don't think they're that great. I'm just going to grab one so that I can eat it on the stream, so we can have a running commentary. It'll be far too hot now, so it'll be something to look forward to. I should turn the oven
like
off.
a cooking show.
Because this is what you want when you watch a podcast. Okay, I'm back.
Live mince pie action.
Hey, British Bake Off was like one of the most popular TV shows in England, like when it was on.
It's still on, isn't it?
No, there was the girl, the Muslim girl who won ages ago, and this is like started up again, and no one's kind of paid it any mind.
Oh, I don't watch television.
Yeah, because it was like Bake Off 2015.
Oh, well, so not that long ago.
No,
Maybe it's like a summer program or something.
I think it was. Because I
Yeah,
remember, like, I've seen one or two, and they were in like a matinee, like under a tent, and
Yeah, because I remember there being a bunch of articles out at the time. Because one contestant said, "Well, I'm having trouble because I'm used to cooking on an Aga."
oh yes, and I thought that she was like really cute, and I was like, hey, check that. And then someone told me, dude, she's 17. I was like, what?
And then you were like,
I'm not creepy at all.
Half my
But she
age
was-
plus
she was
7.
wearing-
Half my age plus 7 is...
My age is...
It's 19.
No, I'm 24.
I know, but that's the answer to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
12 plus 7 is...
But she was talking about Argas, and she was wearing sweaters. How was I supposed to know?
How are you supposed to resist?
How... that would have worked too. It's like she was talking about Argas, she was wearing sweaters. How was I supposed to resist?
Well, you know, Aga cooking is actually quite different because I have an Aga here and I've sort of been teaching myself to cook on it. And, you know, it's sort of a very different way of cooking because it's 20% on the hob, 80% in the oven. So, like, when you're doing a sauce, you don't leave it to simmer on the hob the whole time. You actually put it into the oven itself to cook.
Sick and wrong.
Yeah, I much prefer a regular cooker, to be honest. So, let's see, what were we talking about? Yes, so you're feeling better now.
I'm feeling better now. I feel like I've actually done things. I've got like a massive pot of soups. That's like my food. That's like either my lunch or my dinner for like the week ahead. I've got shopping. So what did I actually buy other than soup ingredients? Oh, yeah, I brought cereal. That's my breakfast. I've made mince pies. Yeah, and I haven't played Civ 5 once. Civ 5, a game that makes me depressed, but I just can't stop playing.
You see, this is why I didn't install Steam on your laptop, Dan.
Dude, I've got a Steam account. It's like got one of the reasons I was getting a new laptop was because I've got all of these games which I can't buy because my laptop can't handle it. So now that I've got a laptop that can handle it, why wouldn't I play the games?
But you don't because you're playing Civ 5.
Exactly. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yes. Remember how also like another kind of traumatic experience in my life was watching the BBC? What was it, Channel 4? It was Jamie Oliver, and I think he usually works with Channel 4.
Yeah.
The documentary Sugar Rush, which shares its name with a TV show called Sugar Rush that was about lesbians in Brighton.
Well, that is where, you know, the largest population of lesbians is.
And given
They're called to the sea. Lesbians, they're called to the sea. It's like a siren call.
And as far as I know, this kind of show came out when I was quite a bit younger. I think I was still in like secondary school, and back then lesbians only existed in Brighton.
Yeah, they were penned in there.
I remember like some of the awful treatment of lesbians. As a lesbian in my village was carted away, taken away from her family, and taken down to Brighton. It was it was shocking. Yeah.
And the battery farming conditions of lesbians is just terrible.
I know. I mean, it just well, let's not go into it. It's far too.
You know, baby lesbians having their beaks cut off is just terrible. It's a sight I never want to see again.
What was I saying? Yeah, sugar rush. Like seeing the effects of sugar, the effects of well, basically just looking at Mexico, and of course, like there's also like a massive strain on our NHS, and I was like, right, no more fizzy drinks, no more kind of sugary Pepsi. Because sugar is the devil, and it will give me the diabetes of type 2, and I'll lose limbs, and chaos will ensue. I shall only drink the zero sugar alternative, Pepsi Max or Diet Pepsi, but Pepsi Max because Diet Pepsi still tastes a bit rank. So Pepsi Max. No one can see you nodding, Kit. I'm assuming the camera's on me.
They can see me nodding in the little box in the corner.
Oh, did we have the little box in the corner?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then apparently then there was like something which I think was BBC. Trust me, I'm a doctor. I don't watch it. I don't have a TV. And they were doing like all of these experiments about the artificial sweeteners which are used in such zero sugar alternatives. And for one reason or another, I didn't watch it. This is kind of pass on knowledge from mother. The saccharides or whatever, the aspartame, is worse for you, and it increases your chances of getting the diabetes.
Yep.
So now I'm drinking water. I'm drinking sparkling motherfucking water. Like I'm on the fucking continent, the European continent. Like I'm a fucking continental. Sparkling water. That's what my life has come to, Keir.
Well, you should just do the British thing and just drink beer. Or ale.
That's what I've been doing today.
Yeah. You know,
beer is more expensive than carbonated water.
You know, there used to be a thing called breakfast beer.
I like that. Actually, one second. I don't have any breakfast beer. I'm just going to plug this new beer. Usually, I just drink Hobgoblin because A, I like the branding, and B, it's kind of what I know. But my brother kind of say again.
We're scared of the unknown.
We're scared of the unknown. But my brother bought me like a load of beers for Christmas, and I had my first one today, and it's very delicious. Brewdog is what it's called. That's kind of their little symbol, Brewdog. And then this particular one is called Dead Pony Club. I was drawn to it because it says pony, but a bit put off because it says Dead Pony Club. I'm not sure where that comes from, but it's a really nice beer. I like it, and I want more. But I'm assuming that, you know, it's an expensive beer and probably a bit more expensive than a Hobgob. But I'll search it out. Just because my brother is all fancy and lives in London and stuff, doesn't mean that the beers that he...
And is doing a lot better than both of us.
But that doesn't mean that all of the beers he buys are crazy and expensive and fancy and, you know.
Well, it's London, everything's expensive. Though, from what I know from my family, Shropshire Lad is actually apparently an excellent beer.
I'm not sure if I've really drunk it. I know that it's something which I used to sell when I was working in catering, because it was all local produce and stuff. I'm not sure. If I have tried it, then I can't remember. I've also heard that Hobson's Town Crier. I've heard that that's a very good beer. I tried it once recently, but it was just a beer.
This kind of feels like it's a part of your middle-aged man starter kit.
Oh yes, we were talking about that before. because I bought some new books because as we said, I've been getting into drawing birds, but I've only had like a shitty, crappy book. So I kind of bought a Collins bird guide. There's a Facebook notification covering up my me. So there we go. Which I won't say how expensive it was.
£15. 20. Yeah, that's about right.
Well, after buying like all of my books in like the charity bookshops, where it's like, oh yeah, want a book? It's like $1.49. It's like 99p. £2 if you're pushing the boat out and getting an expensive one, and then it's just like £20 for what? Where's my money gone?
Now you know how I feel.
What
was the name of the book again?
The Collins Bird Guide, 2nd edition. The most complete guide to the birds of Britain and Europe. And it is kind of much more in depth. So the other one would have like 3 or 4 pictures and then like a brief description. This actually does have like all of the birds, like different variations.
Just so you know, you could have bought it for a tenner off Amazon. I do highly recommend the Amazon penny book system.
Oh yeah, because I think you said that you saw like lots of MTG novels for like a penny or something.
Well, I often buy paperbacks off Amazon and go for penny books. You know, they're normally decent quality.
And then because I didn't kind of spend enough on that book, I also bought a British tree guide just in case I want to draw trees. And basically, this just kind of the last when I went on holiday, just kind of walking around England and Wales. I was just like,
so you mean that last video we did? the Rican video you did?
The Rican video I did, the Trickerig video I did. And I think I went somewhere else. I can't remember. I think
you went to Brecon, didn't you? You went to Brecon, didn't you?
No, but I was kind of looking over the Brecon mountains. I think like one of the walks like around it was the Brecon Way. So I think Trickerig might actually be in the Brecon Beacons, or it's like right next to it at least.
It might be in the same park area.
I might just be thinking. I also kind of went down to Cardiff after I was at Llandilo. But you know, I don't recognize trees, and it's like this tree. It's
brown and sticky.
Yes, it's definitely a tree. Given its location, I'd say it's probably a British tree, and possibly quite old.
There's only one tree I can tell by sight. Silver birch.
Yeah, that's an obvious by the bark, not by the leaves. And I can tell conker trees. That's not its actual name.
No.
And I think I can recognize oak.
With oaks, actually, they change quite a bit over their lifespan. Like young oaks actually don't look like oaks in my experience.
Fair enough. See, these are things that I don't know that I really should.
Really? You're a city boy.
No, what? No, I'm not. I'm basically a country bumpkin.
You live on an estate.
Yeah, whatever. Shut up. I'm hardly a city boy. And I also got the British Common Wildflower Guide, which Keir says that is part of my lonely middle-aged man starter kit.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that when I was buying them, but it seems to make sense. That does seem to be how I want my life to be going.
You see, next you're going to start homebrewing your own beer.
No, I'm not going to do that. I know like a lot of people who do. I actually know someone who homebrews their own mead. That I might try. But
and next you're going to renovate your shed.
Oh yeah, because I've got a shed, but it's not like a shed. So we need to kind of, I need to give it some time before I actually turn it into my shed. But that kind of involves doing things with my hands.
And I imagine, given the type of middle-aged man you're going to become, You're gonna start wearing sweater vests.
No.
Really?
No, I don't have any kind of need to buy a sweater vest. What I'm going to do is probably buy turtlenecks and blazers. If anything.
So go the faux poet route.
No, go the massive crush on Carl Sagan route.
So you're going to go for a tan jacket, okay. Or a sports coat. Yes, fill your mouth with filth. Filth!
So as can be seen, I didn't actually show. I'm not sure if it's going to come out very well. But it is kind of very brown, and the top is kind of overdone.
Yeah, it looks like it's split a bit. It looks like the casing's split from the top of it.
But that just happens when you home bake mince pies. But the bottom is nice, and the filling is nice, but I didn't make the filling, so... Overall, it's decent. It's good for a first try. But yes, the pastry is definitely far too thick, and that's where the problems come in. But no, it's quite nice. I like it.
You should have rolled it thinner.
All right, but the problem is that my mom took like the big rolling pin, so I've only got one which is like fucking tiny. It's like it seriously is just like that big.
Here's a life hack for you, Dan.
Ooh, a life hack.
Wine bottle.
Yeah, that would make, yeah. I need to buy some wine.
Just like a standard white wine or red wine bottle.
This could probably work too.
That might do for smaller baking, but if you want a sort of full-size rolling pin, wine bottle will do it. If it's a screw,
there's no nutritional value to this podcast.
If it's a screw top, you can fill it with water to give you the extra weight.
I'm burning myself.
I mean, admittedly, I'm completely spoiled on this because what I've always used when living with my mother, as I do now, is a Victorian rolling pin. Victorian China rolling pin.
A China rolling pin?
Yes.
Wow. I don't think I saw that. I don't think I saw that. That's the kind of thing which I think I would remember.
I don't show it to the plebs.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember the cutting board and bread knife?
I think so.
Those are Victorian as well.
That explains why the bread knife never cut anything.
Hasn't been sharpened since it was bought.
But yes, going towards the lonely middle-aged man route, I do kind of feel like this weekend, for example. I like got really depressed because I basically did nothing but play Civ 5. I feel like that's kind of a childish thing to do, to kind of shirk off all responsibilities, all duties, like all the things that I needed to do, that I knew I needed to do just to play video games. Because you see it all the time. It's just like, the rise of the man-child, and like a couple of people who I work with who are kind of paragons of the Oedipus complex, where they essentially just kind of, when they're not at work, they kind of live lives of the man-child, where they will just kind of drink beer, play video games, and then just let their wife or girlfriend just kind of do all the cooking, do all the cleaning, do all this stuff.
It's not really an Oedipus complex, but it's being a shitty person.
No, because Oedipus complex, it's like, I think it doesn't mean that you kind of want to have sex with your mother which
You want
wasn't
your mother to be your
replace
partner.
Hmm?
You want your mother to be your partner.
No, it's like it's
Well, your partner to replace your mother.
You want your partner to replace your mother, yeah. So
Yes, but here's the thing. That still means you're a shitty person, because you can have a relationship with your mother, or where you don't just rely entirely on her.
But yeah, it's like finding a partner who replaces like this person who kind of does all of the cooking, cleaning, and I think there's another C. Cooking and, or is it just cooking and cleaning?
Cooking, cleaning, cuddling?
Makes sense.
No, cuddles are important.
So yeah, so it makes sense, I think. But yes, and yeah, and it's just that just kind of all of this propaganda of just like men kind of choosing not to grow up. I don't want that.
You don't want to be infantilized.
I don't want to be, well, I don't want to be infantilized, and I don't want it to be true.
You want to be the classy man who does all. You want to be a strong, independent man who don't need no woman. Exactly.
I want to be able to see fucking wildflowers and be like, as an educated person, I know that this is this, and this. And it's like, I want to be able to see trees. It's like, oh yeah, that tree, does this. It's like the bark is used in aspirin. And I want to be able to kind of see birds and kind of know them. I want to be well read. I want to have like a.
Sorry, I'm just imagining you on a date with someone. So like you're walking, on the linear or something, or doing the butter walks. These are nice places around Ludlow where Dan lives. You're on a date. I'm just sort of following behind you as you sort of explain these things, going nerd.
Yeah, I want to be well read. I want to read Dawkins and Hitchens and Cox and Sagan. I want to kind of be up to date with all of like the classics of literature, like 1984 and Animal Farm, Brave New World. Those are only like the dystopian future ones, which I'm kind of.
So you want to read the non-classics of classics. You want to read the non-classics of classics.
Yes, but also kind of Lord of the Rings. Like I say that I've read it, but I can't. It's been so long. I can't even remember if I did finish reading Return of the King.
I will say this about Lord of the Rings. It's a book where you feel like you walked every step of that journey.
And then there are like other kind of books that, like the Conan series, Lovecraft. There's lots of stuff that, I think as a person, I think it's important to know and to read. And so what we've got.
So to be a well-rounded, educated man in the 21st century, you feel you need to read not philosophy, the classics, as in the true Roman Greek classics, religious tractates. You feel pulp literature is the way to go.
I wouldn't call Dawkins and Sagan and Hitchens pulp.
I'd call Robert E. Howard pulp.
And he did Conan.
Yeah.
But that is pulp, but it's still kind of very culturally pervasive.
Yeah. I know, I just find it funny that, what was considered trash is now a part of the educated diet, if you will. 100 years ago, if you said, yeah, I feel Lovecraft is a real important part of literature, they would have hit you with Shakespeare.
I need to read Shakespeare as well. That's I need to go to more Shakespeare plays. Because I always kind of miss. Ludlow always, like every year, has a big Shakespearean play, and I've missed quite a few of those.
They're always really expensive, though.
They're expensive, but they're also really good. So
that's something I miss about being down south. Is you could go to, all manner of plays down there. In fact, on my course, I think it got cancelled due to a weather warning, but we were meant to go see Who was it? It wasn't Coriolanus. One of the Roman plays. Maybe Julius Caesar. At the Strand.
That's
the Globe Theatre.
All right. Oh, so you're going down to London? Oh, right. This is when you said down south. I assumed you meant Brighton.
But yeah, this was in Brighton.
Oh, okay.
Brighton's only an hour away from London.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be a well-rounded adult, I do want to kind of classics was a poor choice of words. These culturally pervasive literary texts or whatever, because Lovecraft is incredibly pervasive. You can't go a week without seeing either Cthulhu rising or baby Cthulhu being adorable on any form of social media.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. Cthulhu's tentacles are more pervasive in our culture than octopus tentacles.
Yeah. And also there's always a new Lovecraftian board game coming out, or a board game with a Lovecraftian themed creature. So I think
another video game.
Yeah.
Every horror movie monster is now Lovecraftian.
So I should be kind of broadening my mind with these things. With these books, with improving my drawing, getting down to writing, making this video game. There's so many. I could just be cooking, increasing my skill there, kind of learning what to do and what not to do, kind of trial and error, kind of making decent mince pies.
But instead, you're here talking to me.
No, because this is fine. Because this is talking. This is kind of being told I'm an idiot and what I need to do better, and that kind of stuff.
Because Kian knows all. He hasn't fucked his life up at all.
It's everyone knows that you're not human, and humans can't see the forest for the trees. That's a saying that I really do love and kind of hold true in most cases. So, as a non-human, you can look in on the human experience with fresh eyes.
Let's go back to that thing about, that scene I painted about his date.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a meadow talking to your...
Actually, I'm just going to finish. So rather than saying that instead of doing all these things, I'm here talking to you because I think this is a good thing because whatever, it's producing things. Even if we're just talking, it's producing things. It's good. I was going to say, rather than doing all that, I'm just playing fucking Civ 5. Anyway, carry on.
No, it's just, my experience is hiding behind the tree yelling nerd at the humans.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, we discussed this briefly before the podcast, but we can discuss it here because who cares? I thought it could be a good idea for another podcast on the channel to do a book club where once a month we read a book and then discuss it.
Yes.
Why don't we use that as a way for you to bank up your cultural currency?
Mm-hmm. I think that was a good idea. I said before, I think this book club sounds like a good idea. I was saying that there are all of these women on the internet who read books. What I think the internet really wants. I'm going to try and finish this. What the internet really wants is a man's opinion.
Yep.
Because we don't get that.
Because the heteronormative cis male opinion is really, really not visible at all.
And it is held in such high regard.
Mm.
I mean, no one ever said that, well, no one's ever kind of disregarded anything because it's been said by a cis white male.
Well, let's be fair, most people disregard everything everyone says.
That's true.
If you don't agree with my point, I'm ignoring it. It's un-American. Well, un-American.
American.
Well, do you know what a merkin actually is?
Oh, a merkin?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I feel like I should. I feel like I used to know it.
It's a pubic hair wig.
I think there was a British comedy called Teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't watch it, but I think there was like one of the it was just like an advert for it, where someone for like their birthday or something kind of got a merkin, and they were kind of using it as like a fake beard, which is rather humorous. But it's humorous, but it's if you're trying to sell a TV show, then it's not what you want to go with.
But that's always what I hear when someone says, "I'm American."
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I hear. Is that, yeah, okay.
I'm American. I'm a proud American.
Well, I'm go you, I guess.
You can. I don't know. Whatever.
So, I think we discussed this on the last podcast. I can't remember. We may have briefly touched on it. You know the thing going down on that? I think it's Oregon, on the wildlife reserve.
Oh, yes. We either said we were going to mention it, or we did actually mention it.
Basically, a bunch of hillbilly redneck fucks took over a bird sanctuary that was empty for the winter, and proclaimed it a victory for freedom, and have been camped out there, and the police refused to do anything, despite the fact they're insanely armed. So you know what people have been doing?
Nope.
Sending them dildos.
Well, you know, it probably gets cold and lonely in that nature reserve. It's January.
One guy sent them a 55-gallon drum of lube.
Well, how very nice of him. I mean, all of these people sending them dildos probably didn't think, you know, that they would need lube. It's like if they're not used to having big rubber cocks up their ass, then, you know, they're going to need some help.
Well, let's be fair, this group does seem like they have big rubber cocks up their ass quite frequently. And in their mouths, too. But interesting note, I've learned this from a book I read yesterday. 55 gallons is called a hogshead.
Fair enough.
So they got sent a hogshead of lube.
Nice. So, did you learn the etymology of that as well?
No, but I was reading a book and it involved Benedictine monks.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of the order's rules is that each guest must be supplied with 2 hogshead of wine a year. That's 110 gallons of wine a year.
So that's 100. So essentially, give or take, that's about a third of a gallon a day.
Probably.
Because yeah, it's like 110 by 350 days.
Yeah.
So how much is a gallon in like metric?
Gallons in liters. 1 gallon is 4.54 liters.
So, yeah, about a liter a day, I guess. Probably more. Yeah.
So, well, a liter is 2 pints. No, wait. Yeah, 2 pints.
It's around 2 pints, yeah. That sounds about...
Well, given it's a society where, you know, often drinking water was unsanitary, so you drink beer or wine. It makes sense, but it's that's a lot of wine to give someone.
Would wine be as kind of potent as it is these days?
I'm pretty sure it was watered. But I think it was there were echelons, so it was like the breakfast ale type situation. Though breakfast ales were actually a different thing because they were actually just a literal breakfast. You know, beer was bread of the people.
Alcohol was the opiates of the masses.
Yes, the famous rebuttal to the quote. No, opiates are the opiates of the masses.
And apparently that's like always taken out of context. Apparently it's a much longer quote.
Oh yeah, most quotes are.
Hmm.
In fact, I think
like Cameron, when Cameron said the death of Osama bin Laden was a tragedy. That's way out of context.
Well, I suppose you could say any death is a tragedy.
Oh, actually, no. He was saying that Corbyn said the death of bin Laden was a tragedy, whereas what Corbyn said was the fact that he was assassinated and not given a trial was kind of a tragedy of justice or something.
Well, that's more paraphrasing than shortening.
I can't remember like exactly what was said, but
yeah,
that's kind of the general story. But the end, all you really need to know is that at the end, Cameron said the death of Osama bin Laden was a tragedy.
I mean, you know, it's like well, actually, one of my favorite. You know the saying, "Curiosity killed the cat."
Mm-hmm.
That's an incomplete saying.
I think we mentioned this on the podcast before.
I know, but I just love the saying so much.
And then something brings it back.
And then satisfaction brings it back.
You
know, it's kind of become my motto now. You know, just such a nice saying. And also because cats aren't dying anymore.
Which is always sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then also kind of just like saying that I get depressed when I kind of feel like I do nothing. Civilization games are always, there's no story and they're always the same. Essentially, you employ different tactics and it's like a different game each time, but you're never kind of getting anywhere new. So I've also at the moment been replaying Bravely Default in preparation for Bravely Second. And even though I did kind of spend like several hours on that over the weekend, that doesn't feel like time wasted because I kind of progressed in the story and I kind of know new things that are going on, and it's just kind of you're getting somewhere. Whereas with Civ 5, you can just kind of start again and it all just completed.
I wonder if there's well, most games are built around the Skinner box principle.
Say again?
Most video games are based around the Skinner box principle, right? Which is basically sort of a punishment reward system. It's very. Okay. I can't remember the proper definition. So I wonder if that means that because that perhaps Civ 5 isn't as well designed in that regard.
So you say punishment reward. So like you're punished for. So like my experience, you're punished for not expanding kind of fast enough, but you're rewarded by like the satisfaction of winning.
Yeah, and sort of video game Skinner boxes are sort of, so it's like games where you've got sort of level rewards and that kind of thing.
Oh, something like I can't remember the term, but it's like micro victories.
Yeah, things like that.
Oh, which is also like it's most commonly used in MMOs is when it's like most commonly employed.
Well, I'll read the Wikipedia thing on it. It's referred to as an operant conditioning chamber, because that doesn't sound scary as hell. An operant conditioning chamber permits experiments to study behavior conditioning by teaching a subject animal to perform certain tasks, like pressing a lever in response to specific stimuli, such as a light or a sound signal. When the subject correctly performs the behavior, the chamber mechanism delivers food or another reward. In some cases, the mechanism delivers a punishment for incorrect or missing responses. For instance, to test how an operant conditioning works for certain invertebrates, such as fruit flies, psychologists use a device known as a heat box. Essentially, this takes up the same form as a Skinner box, but the box is composed of two sides. One side that one side that can undergo temperature change and one that does not. As soon as the invertebrate crosses over to the side that can undergo temperature change, the area is heated up. Eventually, the invertebrate is conditioned to stay on one side of the box, or more specifically, the side that does not undergo temperature change. This goes to the extent that even when the temperature is turned to the lowest point, the fruit fly will refrain from approaching the heat area of the heated box. These types of apparatuses allow experiments to perform studies in conditioning and training through reward/punishment mechanisms.
Mm.
So the example, sort of the picture is like a box. There's a loudspeaker, a light, food dispenser, and a lever with a rat on an electrified grid.
Mm.
So the light goes off, blink, blink, blink. Press the lever, get a pellet. You don't press the pellet, you get shocked. And this is sort of the design basis for most games.
Mm.
And thinking about it, the design of Civ kind of lacks that.
I suppose.
You know, when your cities.
Well, there's no kind of like immediate victories and immediate kind of punishments unless you kind of consider world wonders.
Mm.
So, like, if you're kind of building the pyramids and you're like 2-3 turns away, and then someone else builds it first, then that's kind of But I do also kind of find that if I'm like 1 turn away from creating like a world wonder, and it's just like, is anyone else doing it? Is anyone else doing it? No, no one else has completed it. Victory.
Yeah, but sort of if it was more traditional Skinner box design, it's sort of like when your city levels up in culture or whatever, or science or something, you'd get a big flashing thing like, Worcester has upgraded its culture. The borders have expanded. Ring the bells, peasants. But
you just kind of get a little notification on the side. It's like, it's grown.
And you're like, what? What was that? Oh, I missed that. What's Genghis Khan doing now?
Genghis!
Complete side note. There's a cartoon called Clone High from the early 2000s. It's pretty funny, but Genghis Khan is a character in that. He does the best joke in the entire series. He flips the pool.
What?
Okay, so the school is there's a riot going on because the school team lost a sporting event or something. So they have Genghis Khan, who's this big guy, wears a silly little hat, literally digs his hand into the ground, pulls up the concrete base of the pool and flips it over. It's pretty damn funny. Yeah, it's a good series. I recommend you check it out. It's kind of a parody of those teen high school shows.
Cartoon or comic, did you say?
Cartoon. Abraham Lincoln's the main character, with Joan of Arc as a goth girl.
Sold.
And Gandhi as the wacky sidekick.
That sounds like it could end up being quite racist.
There was a literal riot about the show.
Well, then, now I'm not bothered about the racism. I'm more interested.
Yeah, there was a riot.
Like racist. Of course, the riot. Ooh.
There was an episode where Gandhi gets beaten up by someone, and this just surfaced in India. So basically, there was this huge riot about this American show where Gandhi was beaten up by the white man. This was a thing that happened.
No, it's the White Devil, if you don't mind. That's how I prefer to be known. It's my preferred cultural thing.
It's your preferred pronoun?
Yes.
So, it's a good show. I highly recommend it. Only lasted for like 12 episodes then.
Were they kind of full 20-minute episodes, or were they like 10?
Full 20 minutes. This was back in the day when we got full-length episodes.
So it was like an actual TV show.
Yeah.
TVs. Fair enough.
And actually, the ending is really good.
So yeah, I guess, is there anything else that we want to? It seems like the main kind of topic of today has been Dan wants to be a middle-aged man because wants to be middle-aged because he's terrified of being a man-child, but doesn't know what to do with the kind of mid-20s to 40s gap between being middle-aged and young.
That period is meant to be where you strive to educate yourself. And I know you're against that.
That doesn't really count, does it?
Says a guy who's afraid of getting a degree.
I'm not afraid of getting a degree. I'm afraid of the £60,000 debt.
You're afraid of getting a degree.
No, I do have like a friend who's trying to make me afraid of getting a degree, because I kind of go through phases of like saying I want to go back to university. I want to go to university. I don't want to go to university. Blah blah. And she keeps telling me, it's like, if you get a degree, you're not going to be more employable. It's going to make it harder for you to find a job because people will turn you away because you're overqualified. And it's like, you don't have a degree and I do have a degree. We're working in the same place.
Yes, but here's the difference. Having a degree will open higher level jobs to you, like management, whereas not having a degree will keep you in the shit tier. Also, it should be noted, Open University has reduced their cost. It's about $5,000 for a degree now.
Nice. I could afford that.
Well,
it would clear me out, but I could afford that.
Well, you could still get a loan for it that you wouldn't have to pay back till you're earning an amount.
But yeah, this is like another thing that I've like been saying, that this is like things that this is like another thing that I should have been doing, rather than just wasting my time on video games.
Well, we all have problems that we don't know the answer to. One of those is really causing me a lot of problems at the moment, and I just don't know how to resolve it. I can't see a way to resolve it.
Well, I don't know. I think my problem is I'm not afraid of getting a degree. I'm afraid of, I don't know,
going outside your comfort zone.
What did we say about me not liking being infantilized?
I'm sorry, but everyone has a comfort zone. Even Chuck Norris has a comfort zone.
And it's everyone else's comfort zone.
It's as far as his leg can roundhouse.
No, it's like, rather than just like saying comfort zone, so I have a fear of like doing things, and can conflate, mix the two. You can say that they're the same thing. I have a fear of doing things, so instead I'll just retreat, and then knowing that I've retreated makes me feel terrible. And yes, so
you also sort of stop yourself from going to somewhere that you could go because you don't like living outside of a rural area. You're unwilling to take those risks for the betterment of yourself. I honestly think if you tried, you could get yourself into the best universities in this country. I worry about you. You know this. We discussed this the other day. No, it was last week. You sent me that link to the degree course.
In Isle of Man, because Isle of Man seems like a nice place. It was History and Heritage. I told you to kind of like read it and find out what it was about.
And it was basically like a history and tourism degree. Now, actually, I have nothing against tourism degrees. My oldest brother did one many years ago. He now has a 6-figure salary.
Nice. What does he do?
He basically he's the guy who he sets up the packages for holidays and such.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings the companies together as like, hey, you've got this thing and this thing and this thing. So like, you've got this resort, you've got this travel company, you've got this airline. Let's all get together and make a whole bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to go places for free and snowboard.
Nice.
He has the best life. And he's really short. He's like 5'4".
Well, that's just unfair. We are both over 6 foot. We should have much better lives. We are the tallest.
I've said it before. I believe in a tallocracy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not biased because I'm the tallest person in my family. Not at all.
Not
I
at
just
all.
feel I should rule with an iron fist from way above them all.
Mm.
Also, his wife is exactly 1 inch shorter than him. They're adorable. They're like munchkins.
I know you're going to say something about the history and heritage course.
Well, yeah, it's basically a history and tourism degree. So, you know, if you wanted to work for like the National Trust, that'd be a good degree to have. But the thing you're interested in is the folklore side.
Say again?
The thing you're interested in is the folklore side. And personally, I think looking into cultural anthropology would be a good bet for you.
But then you said that you only kind of knew one course, and that kind of was a master's.
That specified in just folklore. But cultural anthropology is sort of a broader discipline that looks at where folklore is a big part of it. But, you know, folklore, I look at folklore as part of a lit degree, but it's also part of an anthropology degree, also part of a psychology degree. It sits in many Venn diagrams.
No,
I think you could enjoy that. Of course, there's the age-old problem of, well, what does an anthropologist do? Well, they teach other people to be anthropologists.
Apparently, like, museum jobs are kind of some of the hardest to get into, just because there's so many people looking for them.
And everyone is uber passionate about it.
Yes, I'm getting nervous just talking about the prospects of this stuff.
Well, you know, you're not getting any younger.
Hey, I read an article the other day which specifically said that that's the thing which only women get told. I shouldn't be hearing that. As a man, I'm getting younger.
Always younger.
I'm just going to develop into a man-child. I just need to find a woman to replace my mother, and then she can cook and clean and do everything, and I can just revert back to childhood, and then everything will be fine. It'll be fine.
Until she leaves you.
And takes half of my money.
And probably the dog, too.
Why does the pets have to be involved? Why do the pets have to be involved? Won't someone please think of the pets?
It's normally where I think, but, you know, that's just because there's so many of them. Well, you know, now we've shown your dark underbelly. Do you want to do mine?
We don't have time, man. We've already been going at it for like an hour and a quarter. And I've got many more things to be doing.
True.
And I say that.
Civ 5.
No. Not tonight. I won't. No. No.
So if I see you on Civ 5 later tonight, I should message you and go, Dan.
Yes.
Dan.
That's exactly what you should do if you see me doing that. No, I'm going to shave my beard.
You're going to babyface Riker.
Say again?
You're going to babyface Riker.
Basically, because I did like the Lemmy, but then because I don't have the persistence to kind of maintain a beard style other than beard, it's all kind of grown. So I've got like this bit which is kind of much more grown, and then this bit which is kind of shorter, and so I'm just going to shave it all off and start again.
Okay, so we were reverting to season 1, Dan.
I'm not sure if I've been beardless on this show yet.
Probably not. You know, we've only been doing it for a year.
Yes, I need to sort out my life. It'll be simple.
Time management strategies will help you.
Anti-civ policies will help me. Anti-video games, anti-magic, anti-people. Spend far too much time on other people.
Have you ever tried those like career quiz things?
No, I don't think so.
You know, I sometimes do them, and I find them a good way of focusing on what you want to do.
Because I have no idea what I want to do. That's one of the major problems with degree finding. Is like I don't know what I want to do.
I mean, you know, the point of a degree is to help you focus on where you want to go with your life. And I think a lot of people forget about that. They just see it as a piece of paper. So maybe hunt down some of those, some of the better ones. You know, I'm unemployed. I'm terrible. I shouldn't be giving advice to anyone, but you know.
I also, something which I do feel strongly about is kind of, well, I don't know, like, when I was young, it was kind of the whole atheism movement, and now it's kind of like the men's movement has kind of replaced that for me, I think. But from the way that it's portrayed to me, at least, is that if you do kind of take kind of a gender studies course, it's basically just a popular, well, it's like the actual name of a feminism course.
Let's be fair, feminism has been around as a political movement a lot longer than Meninism.
What have we said about Meninism?
I just want to mock you over it.
Meninism is a parody. Call it, it's the men's rights movement, or it's just kind of
Meninism.
It's not Meninism. It just sounds silly.
It is silly.
Yes, it is silly. It's a joke.
But yeah, you know.
No, this is where you say it's like, yes, Dan, it's a joke. It's like, no, it's not a joke. And then we kind of banter back and forth.
You know, the men's right movement only goes back to the early 2000s. You know, what was the first bit of it? Like, Dads for Justice or some crap like that?
It was Fathers for Justice.
And they're like one of the first people, and that was only in the 2000s. There's been over a century of feminism.
Fathers for Justice can't be like the first MRM group.
They're the first one I know of, and I'm fairly tuned into political groups. Well, political movements.
I was watching I was watching a discussion the other day. It was this guy who was kind of like a very big figure in the MRM. So actually, I think he said that he originally he traveled around like a load of feminist circles, because that's kind of like what, if you wanted to kind of do that kind of thing, then that's kind of where it was. So maybe we can just say that MRM is just like another splinter group of
the greater feminist movement.
Yes, because I was like thinking the other day about it might have even been today, just like after reading The God Delusion, and because he talks about like splinter groups, and there's just like this one joke where he's talking about the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, and he's saying that, and yes, as you might have imagined, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster has already formed its own splinter group, and we now have the Reformed Church for Flying Spaghetti Monster. Warren Ferrell.
I was going to say something. I've forgotten. But, nope, completely lost it. Can't remember what I was going to say.
Okay, so books by this Warren Ferrell chap. Seems like the first one. Actually, no. Second one seems to be much more kind of MRM. And I remember like some people like saying was like what kind of got them into men's rights movement was. So second book is The Myth of Male Power, which was published in '93, which is 20 years ago.
Well, I was just talking about this with my mother the other day. There was sort of we're talking about the film Fight Club, and we're sort of discussing the point what the film is sort of actually about. And it seems to me that the film is kind of a post-analysis of the changing masculinity of men from really the 60s to the 90s. Sort of a look back on this change and how a lot of the masculine ideology is more damaging than anything. So sort of the idea of the lone rebel, the lone wolf, Rambo man, is actually a very damaging thing to men, because at the end of the day, it's just a destructive force that can't really do any good. Whereas that's held up as a exemplar man. So, and sort of the narcissism of Tyler Durden is also an element of that. So you could really look at the relationship between Jack and Tyler Durden as a sort of a man dealing with his own, with the masculine image that is thrust upon him, if you will.
Forgive me for kind of saying, but I'm not sure if you and your mother are the best people to talk about how men think and what men look up to and men.
I would say that we're both very much aware of gender roles in media. And that's primarily what it's about. Not what men think, but what is thrust upon men. You see the difference?
I think Rambo, like the whole Rambo style character, Clint Eastwood, whatever.
Yeah.
Dirty Harry is like an exemplar for men, but just I don't know. It's like, how many people do you think you know who actually do kind of like say it's like, yes, that's what I want to be like. That's who I want to be. I want to be this kind of.
That's not the point. It's not that people want to be that. It's that people are told they should be like that. You know, it's sort of when someone says, "Who are our heroes?" It's not who are your heroes. It's who are we told to be our heroes. So the modern generation's heroes are the Avengers. They may not want to be people in the Avengers, but that's who they're told are their heroes. You know, that's why this is why it's a very important thing in sort of in the more traditional feminist context, that there haven't been women role sort of there's been a very limited range of feminine roles that have filled other niches than the damsel, whereas now that's less of an issue. And I'd say actually the sort of slightly toxic male angle of it's slightly worse.
I don't know, I think that's something that's going to go on far too long.
Yeah, it's already 10.
Yes. And well, it's just that it's kind of like one of those things that I just kind of hear and I just immediately kind of think that's like, that just doesn't sound right. Well, for whatever reason, it just kind of sounds erroneous to me. But seeing as it's kind of something which you do kind of think about and kind of discuss with your mother, you kind of already kind of have all these ideas in your head, whereas I'm just trying to catch up and try and say it's like, well, I don't fit blah 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 blah.
Well, you know, the one point you've made is you don't think people think like that, and I completely agree with you on that point. You know, I've never met anyone. Well, actually, no, I do know people who want to be Tyler Durden, and they're fucking morons. You know, but most people don't want that.
Possibly. I might know who you mean, but then also just like you're getting into like the argument of representation again, like saying that women don't have like these role models.
No, I'm saying that women didn't have that. They're gaining more.
But I kind of I don't kind of buy into that idea that women need female role models, and I don't believe that men need male role models. There was like the show recently, Reggie Yates, his extreme masculinity, whatever it was, and he was like talking about the manosphere. He said the title was like Men Against Feminism or something, but it was just kind of manosphere and internet culture. It was much broader. It wasn't. I felt like it didn't really kind of do justice to what it said it was trying to do. But he said, like, you know, men need role models, and I think it's divisive to say that kind of men need male role models and women need female role models. And it's like that kind of thing where it's like, I don't know what it's like to be a girl, but if I was, then I don't think that I would see kind of Sagan as any less or any more of a role model.
Well, that's because he's an intellectual role model, but it's also, we all look at various people and sort of think that's who I want to be. I can very deeply relate to this in that when I was a kid, I deeply held up Captain Picard as a role model. You know, I looked at his behavior and said, that is who I want to be. Right? The point of representation is that we are being told this is who you should be. It's kind of like two things on two sides of the same thing, but they're not connected in a strange way. Like, just because you could look at, say, Stephen Fry, his gentility, his erudition, and his intellect. You know, he is what we would call a classical gentleman. All considered masculine traits. You would go, most people would go, he is the kind of man I would like to be, just 80 pounds lighter, we'll say. Whereas, where there is no sort of female counterpart to that in traits, is there? Those are all sort of, when you think of a refined, erudite individual, you think of a man. No, can I think of a woman who is like that? The first thing you think of. You know, it's like when you think of a strong warrior, most people we're more likely to think of a Spartan than an Amazon.
Mm.
That's a masculinized trait.
I would just. Well, no. What did you say again? When you think of a what warrior?
A strong warrior.
Yeah, I would immediately go to the Picts, who just lathered in woad, which may or may not have had
hallucinogenic properties.
Say again?
Hallucinogenic properties.
Properties, yeah. Drugged up Scots, that's who I think of.
To be fair, you can see exactly the same thing in Glasgow only Friday night.
Though probably less woad.
More Burberry.
But yes, maybe discuss it at a different time. If we could.
This is what the armchair human is for.
You haven't explained the armchair human.
Oh yeah, I'll do that now. Then we'll finish. The armchair human is a scripted show that I'm intending to make that I hope Dan will be involved in, where we write and script, most importantly, a thorough argument on a issue. It can be any issue, but it has to be scripted and well written, is the point of it. Because we do tend to ramble and sort of trip over ourselves, and I know I'm particularly bad at making illogical jumps in my conversation. Because I have the mental image and I don't get it out of my brain.
And I have the problem of trying to recreate arguments that I've heard in the past, which makes perfect sense, and I think are good and solid, but have forgotten half of.
Yeah. So, the point of this show would be to present well-articulated arguments with well-done rhetoric and evidence, if possible. And it's called Armchair Human because, well, you've heard of the term armchair general?
No, but well, would it kind of relating to William Hague? I think it was William Hague who basically was never on the front lines. He was just kind of fed information. He could basically have spent all of his time in the armchair.
No.
No. Okay. Completely different. I've not heard of that saying, though.
The phrase armchair general is sort of it's someone who, with the benefit of hindsight, studies battle plans and military history and goes, well, Alexander didn't fight this battle in the most optimum way. He should have used his cavalry like this and that kind of thing. Or the term is most often used these days to describe people who commentate on wars. So it's like, well, you're not actually dealing with the thing. But it's also a term that's used to sort of mean, that can be like armchair botanists. It's someone who's not actually doing the thing but wants to comment on it.
Sounds like a backseat driver to me.
That's another way to say it, yeah. But I just like the term. So, armchair human. I'm not really human, I'm just discussing it. So that'll be a show that'll happen someday. Been writing a lot more, so I might actually get around to finishing that script.
We would have to kind of both be writing the same script, as it were.
Well, no, it's not a back and forth. It's like an essay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could maybe do like a discussion program afterwards. But,
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea. I like it.
I should start working on it. I wrote 7K in the last week, which I'm quite proud of.
I think there might have been something else that I was going to bring up.
Love of donuts.
Love of donuts. Nah, not that. But anyway.
Have you ever tried Krispy Kreme donuts?
I have. They're amazing. I was at the Telford MCM Expo, and I think it was Krispy Kreme. They were basically people who were just kind of giving out donuts, free donuts. And I was like, free donuts, suckers. Then they're going to trick me into going to their shop and buying more. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Well, when I was living in London, my nearest bank was a tube stop away. This was a tube stop that was in a mall. So you come up the stairs, pass some shops, and then these confection stands, one of which was a Krispy Kreme donuts. So I'd go to my bank, get out a lot of cash, because I was normally picking up rent, and it's like, oh, I have money in my wallet. And look at this, a Krispy Kreme donut shop.
So yes.
A weak will.
Yes. Anyway, we should be off.
Yeah, oh no, we're exactly in 90 minutes, so let's end it here. Do the signing out thing, Dan.
Can't remember how this goes, so I'll just say thank you for watching. I've been Dan. This has been Keir. You've been watching the Expletives Included podcast. We hope to see you again next week.
Let's hope we don't explode. Goodbye.